Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Nimisha Jadon from School of Studies Environmental Chemistry, Jivaji University, Gwalior. Today we are going to discuss about a module precipitation titration under the paper of Fundamentals of Analytical Chemistry. The learning objective of this module including the introduction of precipitation titration, its theoretical concepts and its application for analyzing various types of analytes. Precipitation is still a fundamental technique that is of importance in many analytical procedures. The precipitation reactions have been widely used in gravimetric determination and in separating samples into their components part. The gravimetric methods of analysis covered formation and the properties of the precipitate. Here now we are discussing about the precipitation titration. The titrations involving precipitation reactions are not nearly so numerous in titrimetric analysis. Examples of such titrations are usually limited to those involving the precipitations of silver ion with the anions such as the halogens or the thiocyanate. One of the reasons for the limited use of such reaction is the lack of suitable indicators in some cases. At the equivalence point, a high degree of supersaturation does not exist and the rate of precipitation may be very slow. The composition of the precipitate is frequently not known because of co-precipitation effects. The latter can be minimized or partially corrected for by process such as aging the precipitate. Now we discuss here about the titration curves for precipitation titrations. Titration curves for precipitation titrations can be constructed and are entirely analogous to those for acid-base and complex formation titrations. Equilibrium calculation based on the solubility product constant are required at the equivalence point. The following example illustrate the calculations involved in precipitation titration. Here in this figure shows the titration curves of NaCl, NaBr or NaI, that is sodium chloride, sodium bromide or sodium iodide. Here you have seen that first of all the Cl ion is precipitated AgCl, then the second one is the AgBr and the last one is the AgI. So here by this equation the Ag plus X ion, any anion, forms the complex with the silver ion, the complex AgX, that is soluble, and thus the K is equal to 1 by Ag ion concentration, silver ion concentration or X ion concentration, that is equal to 1 upon Ksp. Hence the smaller Ksp, the larger the K for the titration reaction. The magnitude of delta Px is the precipitation concentration of X ion at the equivalence point in the titration of X anion with silver ion depends upon the concentration of the analyte and the titrant. The lower the concentration of anion X ion, the higher the value of Px before the equivalence point and the smaller the value of Px at the equivalence point. As the concentration of titrant is lowered, the branch of the curve after the equivalence point is lowered, again resulting in a lower value of Px at the equivalence point. The next is the indicators for precipitation titration involving silver. It has been pointed out that one of the problems associated with precipitation titrations is finding a suitable indicator. In titrations involving silver salts, there are three indicators
which have been successfully employed. The Morse method uses chromate ion to precipitate brown silver chromate, and the Vollard method uses ferric ion to form a colored complex with a thiocyanate ion. The Fajans method utilizes adsorption indicators.
Now we discuss here about the Morse method. It is the most commonly used method for the precipitation of chloride ion. The formation of precipitate can be used to indicate the completion of a precipitation titration. The best known example of such a case is titration of chloride with silver ion, in which chromate ion is used as the indicator. The first permanent appearance of the reddish silver chromate precipitate is taken as the endpoint of the titration. The precipitation of the indicator occurs at or near the equivalence point of the titration. If silver ions are added to the solution containing a large concentration of the chloride ions and a small concentration of the chromate ions, silver chloride will precipitate first. Silver chromate will not form until the silver ion concentration increases to a large enough value to exceed the Ksp of silver chromate. The yellow color of chromate ion makes it difficult to observe formation of the colored precipitate. Normally, a concentration of 0.05 to 0.01 molar chromate is employed. The error caused by using such a concentration is quite small.
The Morse titration is limited to solutions with pH values from about 6 to 10. In more alkaline solutions, silver oxide precipitates. In acid solutions, the chromate concentration is greatly decreased since hydrogen chromate is only slightly ionized. Furthermore, hydrogen chromate is in equilibrium with the dichromate. Here is the equation that the two hydrogen ion react with the chromium 2 chromate ion and forms the two molecules of hydrogen chromate. Then again it is in equilibrium with the dichromate ion with a plus forms the water. A decrease in chromate ion concentration makes it necessary to add a large excess of silver ion to bring about precipitation of silver chromate, and thus leads to the large errors. The dichromates are in general fairly soluble. The Moore method can also be applied to the titration of bromide ion with silver and also the cyanide ion in slightly alkaline solution. Adsorption effects make the titration of iodine and thiocyanate ions not feasible. Silver cannot be titrated directly with chloride using chromate indicator. The silver chromate precipitate presents initially and redissolves only slowly near the equivalence point. However, one can add excess standard chloride solution and then back titrate using chromate indicator. The next is the formation of a colored complex, that is the Vollard method. The Vollard method is based on the precipitation of silver thiocyanate in nitric acid solution with iron 3 valency, that is ferric ion, employed to detect excess thiocyanate ion. Here is the equation that silver ion react with thiocyanate ion and forms the silver thiocyanate that is soluble, and the ferric ion which is react with the thiocyanate at the equivalence point and form the ferric thiocyanate which is in red color. So at the equivalence point it shows the formation of a red color, confirms that the whole thiocyanate is a silver ion consumed by the thiocyanate ion. The method can be used for the direct titration of silver with standard thiocyanate solution or for the indirect titration of chloride bromide, and iodide ions. In the indirect titration, an excess of standard silver nitrate is added and the excess is titrated with standard thiocyanate. The Vollard method is widely used for silver and chloride because the titration can be done in acid solution. In fact, it is desirable to employ an acid medium to prevent hydrolysis of the ferric ion indicator. The next is the Fajans method or the use of adsorption indicator. The adsorption of a colored organic compound on the surface of a precipitate may induce electronic shifts in the molecule that alter its color. This phenomena can be used to detect the endpoint of precipitation titrations of silver salts. The organic compounds thus employed are referred to as adsorption indicators. The mechanism by which such indicator works was explained by Fajans as follows. In the titration of chloride with silver, before the EPT is the precipitate, the colloidal particles of AgCl are negatively charged because of adsorption of chloride ion from the solution. Here is the presentation that the AgCl is associated with the excess chloride ion concentration, that is the primary layer, and the metal ion M plus forms the secondary layer, and then the solution contains the excess chloride. The adsorbed chloride ion forms the primary layer, causing the colloidal particles to be negatively charged. These particles attract positive ions from the solution to form a more loosely held secondary layer. Beyond the EPT, excess silver ions displace chloride ions from the primary layer and the particles become positively charged. Here is the presentation that the silver is associated with the silver chloride, and then the second layer is formed by the excess concentration of chloride ion. Precipitate tends to absorb more readily those ions that form an insoluble compound with one of the ions in the lattice. Thus, silver or the chloride ion will be more readily adsorbed by a silver chloride precipitate than will say sodium or nitrate ions. Anions in the solutions are attracted to form the secondary layer. The fluorescein is a weak organic acid which we may represent as HFI. When the fluorescein is added to the titration flask, the anion Fl is not absorbed by the colloidal silver chloride as long as the chloride ions are in excess. However, when silver ions are in excess, the Fl ions can be attracted to the surface of the positively charged particles, that is AgCl and excess layer of silver ion, and the second layer is formed by the Fl ions. The resulting aggregate is pink and the color is sufficiently intense to serve as a visual indicator for a precipitation titration. A number of factors must be considered in choosing a proper adsorption indicator for a precipitation titration. These are summarized as: the AgCl should not be allowed to coagulate into large particle at the equivalence point, since this will greatly decrease the surface available for adsorption of the indicator. A protective colloid such as dextrine should be added to keep the precipitate highly dispersed. In the presence of dextrine, the color change is reversible, and if the endpoint is overrun, one can back titrate with a standard chloride solution. The adsorption of the indicator should start just before the equivalence point and increase rapidly at the equivalence point. Some unsuitable indicators are so strongly adsorbed that they actually displace the primarily adsorbed ion well before the equivalence point is reached. The pH of the titration medium must be controlled to ensure a sufficient concentration of the ion of the weak acid or the base indicator. It is preferable that the indicator ion be opposite in charge to the ion added as the titrant. The adsorption of the indicator will then not occur until excess titrant is present. For the titration of silver with chloride, methyl violet and the chloride salt of an organic base can be employed. The cation is not adsorbed until excess chloride ions are present and the colloid is negatively charged. It is possible to use dichlorofluorescein in this case, but the indicator should not be added until just before the equivalence point. There are some type of adsorption indicator. There are ions that to be titrated by using this indicator, then the titrant and the condition are depicted here in this table. The most commonly used adsorption indicator including dichlorofluorescein, fluorescein, eosine, thorine, methyl violet, rhodamine and bromophenol blue. Now we discuss here about the factors affecting solubility. We use the term solubility to refer the concentration of a saturated solution of a solute. Here is the crystalline solid in a given solvent at a certain temperature. In a saturated solution, equilibrium exists between the solid and its ion in solution as for barium sulfate. Here the barium sulfate in solution is in equilibrium with barium ion, that's Ba2 plus SO4 2 negative, that is sulfate ion. The equilibrium constant for this process is the familiar solubility product constant, that is Ksp is equal to barium ion concentration and the sulfate ion concentration. A saturated solution can be produced by continuing the addition of solute until no further solute dissolves, or by increasing the concentration of ions until precipitation occurs. The precipitation results in the analytes being physically separated from other substances in the solution as well as from the solvent itself. The important factors affecting solubility of crystalline solids are temperature, nature of the solvent, and the presence of other ions in the solution. Included in the latter category are ions that may or may not be common to ions in the solid, as well as ions or molecules which form slightly dissociated molecules or the complex ions with ions of the solid. The another one factor is the temperature. The most of the inorganic salts in which we are interested increase in solubility as the temperature is increased. It is usually advantageous to carry out the operations of precipitation, filtration and washing with hot solution. Particles of large size may result filtration is faster and impurities are dissolved more readily. Therefore, directions frequently call for employing hot solution in cases where the solubility of the precipitate is still negligible at the higher temperature.
The next factor that is affecting the precipitation titration is the choice of solvent. Most of the inorganic salts are more soluble in water than in organic solvents. Water has a large dipole moment and is attracted to both cations and the anions to form hydrated ions. All ions are undoubtedly hydrated to some extent in water solutions. For example, that the hydrogen ion in water is completely hydrated, forming the hydronium ion, that is H3O plus ion. The ions in a crystal do not have so large as an attraction for organic solvent, and hence the solubilities are usually less than in water. Generally, we utilize the decreased solubility in organic solvents to separate two substances which are quite soluble in water. For example, potassium can be separated from the sodium by the precipitating potassium platinum chloride from an alcohol water mixed solvent.
The next important factor is the common ion effect. A precipitate is generally more soluble in pure water than in a soluble which contains one of the ions of the precipitate, that is known as common ion effect. In a solution of silver chloride, for example, the product of the concentration of silver and chloride ions cannot exceed the value of solubility product constant 1 is to 10 to the power minus 10 molar. In pure water, each ion has a concentration of 1 is to 10 to the power minus 5 molar, but if sufficient silver nitrate is added to make the silver ion concentration 1 into 10 to the power minus 4 molar, the chloride ion concentration must decrease to a value of 1 into 10 to the power minus 6 molar. The reaction is forced to the right by excess silver ion, resulting in the precipitation of additional salt and decreasing the quantity of chloride remaining in the solution. That is, Ag plus Cl negative is in equilibrium between AgCl solution. The importance of the common ion effect in bringing about complete precipitation in quantitative analysis is readily apparent. In carrying out precipitation, the analyte always adds some excess of precipitating agent to ensure complete precipitation. In the presence of a large excess of common ion, the solubility of the precipitate may be considerably greater than the value predicted by the solubility product constant. The next is the activity effect. It has been found that many precipitates show an increased solubility in solutions containing ions which do not react chemically with ions of the precipitate. The effect is referred to by various names such as diverse ion, natural salt, or activity effect. The data shows here in the table the magnitude of the increased solubility of silver chloride and barium sulfate in potassium nitrate solution. Here is the molarity of potassium nitrate start from 0.002, 0.01, 0.005 and 0.01, and the molarity of silver chloride depicted here is 1 into 10 to the minus 5, 1.04, 1.08 and 1.12 into 10 to the power 5 respectively, and the molarity of barium sulfate is the 1.21, 1.48 and 1.70 into 10 to the power 5 respectively. Now the next is the effect of pH. The solubility of the salt of a weak acid depend upon the pH of the solution. Some of the more important example of such salt in analytical chemistry are the oxalates, sulfides, hydroxides, carbonates and phosphates. Hydrogen ion combines with the anion of the salt to form the weak acid, thereby enhancing the solubility of the salt. Now the next factor is the effect of hydrolysis. Let us now consider the case in which the salt of a weak acid is dissolved not in strong acid but in water. The problem is more complex than the previous one, since the change in hydrogen ion concentration may be of considerable magnitude. For simplification, let us consider that whatever the amount of salt may dissolve, the anion is completely hydrolyzed by the equation A negative plus H2O is equal to, or in equilibrium, Ha plus OH ion. This is a good approximation if Ha is very weak and if Ma is not very soluble. It should be noted that the lower the concentration of anion, the more complete the hydrolysis reaction. Let us further consider two extremes depending upon the magnitude of Ksp. Number one is the solubility is so low that the pH of the water is not changed appreciably by the hydrolysis, and number second is that the solubility is sufficiently large that the hydroxide ion contribution of water can be neglected.
The next is effect of complex formation. The solubility of a slightly soluble salt is also dependent upon the concentration of substances which form complexes with the cations of the salt. The complexing agent normally considered under a heading such as these are neutral molecules and anions, both foreign and the common to the precipitate. One of the best known example in analytical chemistry is the effect of ammonia on the solubility of the silver halides, especially silver chloride. The silver chloride can be dissolved in ammonia, and this fact is utilized in separating silver from mercury in the first group of the traditional qualitative analysis scheme. Now we discuss here about the factors affecting the solubility. We use the term solubility to refer the concentration of a saturated solution of a solute, that here is the crystalline solids, in a given solvent at a certain temperature. In a saturated solution, equilibrium exists between the solid and its ion in solution. As for barium sulfate, the barium sulfate solution is ionized as barium 2 plus ion plus sulfate 2 negative ion. The equilibrium constant for this process is the familiar solubility product constant, that is Ksp is equal to barium 2 plus ion concentration and the sulfate ion concentration. A saturated solution can be produced by continuing the addition of solute until no further solute dissolves, or by increasing the concentration of ion until precipitation occurs. The precipitation results in the analytes being physically separated from other substances in the solution as well as from the solvent itself. The important factor affecting the solubility of crystalline solids are temperature, nature of the solvent, and the presence of other ions in the solution. Included in the latter category are the ions that may or may not be common to ions in the solid, as well as the ions or the molecules which form slightly dissociated molecules or the complex ion with ions of the solid. So in this module we have learned about the basis of precipitation reaction, then the various types of precipitation titration, that is including the Morse method, Fajan's method and the Vollard method. Then the precipitation reactions have been widely used in the analytical chemistry in titration or the gravimetric determination and in separating sample into their component parts. There are various factors which influence the precipitation reaction like temperature, common ion effect, activity effect, pH, effect of hydrolysis and many more. So these are the factors that affect the solubility of the ion and the major reasons of controlling the solubility of the precipitation or the precipitation reaction. Thank you so much.